Hey YouTube, what you know good? He is the Reverend, and we're back with some more of that fresh art goodness. So, what are we working on today? Well, today it's day 25 and illustration 25 for October 2020, where I did 31 illustrations in 31 days. All original characters, brought to you by either myself, or some friends, or comrades, or fellow artists. This time, it's an OC because I don't think she's part of any actual intellectual property just yet during the time of my recording. So, who knows? I'm not entirely sure if it counts or not, but I did it anyway. I don't care. From one of my favorite artists that I've recently learned about over the past few years, and that's David Liu, aka Angry D, aka D.Sloogs, or what have you. I'm still calling by his name, Mr. Liu. And speaking of which, BAM! Links to his socials will be in the description. Check this guy out. He is phenomenal. So the character that I'm drawing is basically the comrade of the one character that he is mostly known for, I assume, his particular character, based on a series that I think is currently being made right now, but since it's not ready yet, I thought it was safe to go ahead and draw these characters for October. The series is going to be called Space Maria, I think, and the titular character is Space Maria, who is working alongside this girl we call Pie Girl. So even though more people will probably recognize Space Maria, I decided to draw Pie Girl because no one ever talks about Pie Girl. In comparison, at least when it comes to fan art, I mostly see Space Maria. Can't blame them. Character looks awesome as hell, but so does Pie Girl. So I wanted to give it a shot. One of the big reasons why I really wanted to draw something from David Liu is because he has been quite the inspiration over the past couple of years. Because if it's one type of aesthetic, one type of style that we don't see very often nowadays, except in certain niche locations, there's it's this particular late 80s, early 90s Japanese anime aesthetic, the stuff you would see late night when nothing else is on, or the stuff you only found on a nice VHS tape that someone was holding on to. There's a particular aesthetic that we just don't get anymore, mainly because the methods for actually making that style back then was based on them just doing what they could with what they had. They don't have what we have now. They don't have the same tool. They didn't have the same tools. They couldn't do what we can easily replicate digitally. So that's a aspect of a bygone era. And also, there's also the big issue is that styles change, tastes change, the way people teach and the way people learn will change, and there's always going to be a change from aesthetic. That's how you can tell what area we're essentially in when it comes to these animations. A lot of artwork nowadays looks really streamlined and sleek and much more artificial looking. Case in point, if you have seen the original Dragon Ball, and then it segued from late Dragon Ball to early Dragon Ball Z, you would see the characters are a little thicker. There's more. Everyone has a little bit of squish to them. By that I mean it looks like they're made of meat. I mean there is illustrations, but the way the characters move, the way the body reacts to the outside interference, just the way it's drawn, the way they animate the things, you can tell that these characters are flesh and blood. But then as it slowly moves on, during and especially after the Frieza saga of Dragon Ball Z, you can see a lot of the characters are looking less like meat and more like they're just carved out of granite. No, don't get me wrong. It's a nice aesthetic at points, especially during the fight scenes. But it gets to the point where there's less movement, less give, and it just that the feel doesn't feel as the feel is no longer as organic. It feels like that they're made of meat, even though they are. These characters are made of muscle, obviously, but the muscle looks like it's sculpted rather than naturally built. And once things shift to like Dragon Ball Super and the art style was clearly just completely different. Everything's digital. Everything is even the character design, the character sheets they were using, the whole aesthetic was a lot more streamlined. Everyone's leaner. Everyone's even less organic looking, because even if they're not made of just like mountains of like rock instead of muscle, it still feels static. So something about it just doesn't feel right, especially the colors. Even if they kept the same like proportions and the same feel, like illustration wise, art wise, from like early Dragon Ball to early Dragon Ball Z, the one thing that really stands out is just the real plasticky, the plasticky color scheme. And earlier, the colors look like that's flesh. Now, and the color, there's the proper type of like saturation in the colors. Like they knew what colors they needed for for skin, for clothing, and what have you, and they would use that. But then I think the issue is when it comes to digital, a lot of people aren't very well versed in color theory, or maybe we have a lot of anime being pumped out every year. Like so much stuff, too much stuff. No one can keep up with it. But because they're cranking this stuff out, they probably don't have enough time to properly get the right color scheme. And if you know anything about like digital like illustrations, there are certain layers you can use to get certain effects, different blending effects, and there's that layer that a lot of people will swear on or will avoid like the plague, the multiply layer, which is a really easy way to get like a shading effect. Like you can block in your colors real quick, and then just use another layer, set it to multiply, and just draw in your shadows, and you'll get something that looks okay. But if you don't edit it later, it looks dull and muddy and unnatural. And I think that might be what they were doing. Either that, or they just had a different color scheme that just looked way too bright. However, Mr. Liu here, he gets it. He knows exactly what colors to use, and more importantly, he has the shading down. He has it on lock. He knows exactly how to get just that right feel, and I swear it's just, I'm not gonna say chef's kiss because people do that way too often nowadays. So instead, I'm just gonna say, just it's the perfect blend. There's the perfect blend to make the right aesthetic. That retro feel, the organic feel of the muscles, male and female, and the color. And it's all just waiter, another plate of that, please. Oh man, and he even showed he actually did a little webinar sponsored by Clip Studio Paint, I think, where he actually gave a little glimpse on how he does this. And he basically shows that he has done this for so long that he just knows exactly where the lights are going to be, where the shading is going to be. No matter what type of hair he's drawing, he knows exactly where to block in the highlights and the shadows, and it's just it's so mind-blowing. I swear I am going to find a way to properly reverse engineer some of this so I can Mega Man this man's abilities. I have to Mega Man this. I have to absorb the knowledge that he is throwing our way and make it a part of my arsenal, because I really miss this aesthetic and I would like to replicate this. By the time that you're hearing this video, I have tried a few times with some illustrations that I've done more recently, because this is stuff I'm drawing back in 2020. As you can probably guess, I'm still drawing to this day. the year is currently 2024, and I have definitely improved since then, and I'm slowly getting an idea of how to replicate this. Still working on it, but it's getting there. But that's, yeah, so yeah, again, check out David Liu. The guy is awesome, and he's been working on a few animated series right now, and I don't know if they are available just yet, but I know he had a hand in a good amount of these, and he's shown some clips on social media. Check out what this guy is capable of. You won't go wrong. The man's a damn savant at what he does, and definitely worth a follow. But with that said, let's go ahead and just wrap it up for today. If you guys enjoy what I do here, don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really want to support this little project, I do commissions, and I have a Patreon. Links below. Until next time, y'all take it easy, memento mori, and I will catch you all in the next one. Kill the feed.